Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and Master Certified Life Coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, welcome back to the podcast, Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your Master Certified Coach and Midlife Mentor, and I'm so glad to be here with you again for this week's episode where I'm asking you to think about which is worse, midlife resistance or midlife regret. So interesting, right? But first, what a whirlwind of a week. No snakes under my couch this week. But if you're new to the podcast, I want to give you a warm Women in the Middle welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and I look forward to connecting with you over this totally cool technology. Seriously happy you found us, and now you'll know for sure that you're not alone in midlife. And if you're a regular listener of the podcast, welcome back. You know I love to describe the whole podcast thing as a party in your purse, and I am here for you. And only one click away, always. So don't forget that. Okay, so it's been a whirlwind of a week because finally first, my new midlife membership launched and we're rocking and rolling. So I just wanted to thank you so much for those of you who signed up. I'm so excited to get to know you and do this important work together. And if you're curious and want to check it out next time, the doors will be open again in March, early March. 2020. So check that out and get on the waiting list now at www.IamFinallyFirst.com. It's always a good idea to be on the waiting list, for sure. Okay, one more thing. This episode is sponsored by my other amazing program, the 50 Unplugged Mastermind. 50 Unplugged is the best way to work together to help focus on what you can do with your next chapter instead of what you like to think about, which is what you can't do. It's an intimate group of women who are ready to make a serious commitment to themselves to work on creating a big personal transformation over the course of a year. It's really about becoming bold and brave in midlife. It's about getting out of your own way so that you're more comfortable and intentional about allowing yourself to be happier. It's about learning how to think on purpose. It's about making sure you don't have regrets and finally putting yourself first so that you know what you want and exactly how to make it happen. It is about living your life the way you want to. Really, that's what it's about. So there are retreats involved too. We are heading to Palm Springs in January, and I am having fun planning that right now. So if you're ready to roll and do some serious work on yourself to get out of your own way so that 2020 is your year, head over to www.talktosusie.com and learn more there. Grab your Kickstart call and let's talk about if 50 Unplugged is a good fit for you. I also want to let you know that this mastermind and private coaching, the prices are going up in the new year, so make sure to book your call now if you were thinking of working with me this way. Go ahead and book your no obligation call and we can talk about what's the best way for you to proceed. Okay, now let's dive in. Today's topic will have you really taking a look at being honest with yourself. Are you ready for that? We're talking about which is worse, midlife resistance or midlife regret. What comes up for you right away when I ask you this question? The thing is, if you're not doing what you really want to do, there's a reason. And on the Women in the Middle podcast, we don't just let those reasons float around out there willy-nilly. We own them. We take a look at them. We show up in our lives. So that's the idea here. Midlife resistance is totally a thing. Midlife regret is totally a thing. They both cause pain, but you experience the pain differently. Here's what happens. With midlife resistance, you are resisting what you really want to do, what you want to pursue, and what you want to prioritize. So with my clients, there are typically 3 areas that this shows up in. First, your career. You've been working hard in your job or your career for a couple of decades, and you sense that you want some kind of new direction, or perhaps you don't even know what you want, but there's a big but. You are stuck and not pursuing it. You might notice that you feel scared or maybe hesitant, maybe even confused. You think about it every day, though. You know you don't feel fulfilled. You know you're meant for more, but you stay put for longer than you ever imagined, and time, she flies by. That's the first area, career. Now, the second area is relationships. You have some relationships that you aren't satisfied with. You know you can't control other people. Well, at least intellectually you understand this. You have a vague understanding that there's more you could do in the way you show up or the conversations you have with whoever it is, but you don't. And again, time flies by, and before you know it, years have gone by. The third area is related to self-care. You have some thoughts that might sound like this. I really want to lose some weight. I know I should exercise more. I wish I had a productive morning routine. I don't have any hobbies. That kind of thing, right? You know that there are things you want for yourself, but when you look around, you aren't where you want to be. You haven't gotten there yet with prioritizing yourself in a way that produces the result that you want. So there you have it. When it comes to your career, your relationships, and your own self-care, so many amazing women in the middle say they want some kind of change but aren't actively making the change they say they want. So why is this? Something gets in the way. And that something is your thinking. The way you're thinking about what you want to do, what you want in your life, it isn't producing the result that you want, the outcome that you want. And that's because of the way you feel when you think that way. You end up with resistance. Resistance is the attempt to prevent something. Now, it's hard to believe you're going out of your way to prevent the things that you want from happening, right? But you're doing so either knowingly or unknowingly. If you're on to yourself as a good student of your own thought work and your brain, you know that you're doing this for a very good reason. That reason is to keep yourself safe. Well, maybe you don't know that, but that's what's going on. Now, this can sound weird. It's an evolutionary thing. Your brain has evolved this way. Basically, whenever you do something that's out of the norm, it can stretch you and push you into unfamiliar territory. For example, if you want to change careers, you have to do some different things you haven't done in decades, like update your resume, start networking, put yourself out there, be vulnerable, tell people you're looking, think about what you want. These types of things are really different than what you've been doing for 10 or 20 years, which is probably rocking your career and growing professionally in your field. You would be putting yourself into a situation where you likely feel uncomfortable. Maybe even you'd be like a beginner and your brain is like freaking out and it wants to keep you safe. That sounds very uncomfortable. Now, back in the day, you might have even been in a cave, like a real cave. Safe, nice, not being eaten by large animals. Now, that was millions of years ago, but here you sit, the land of stuck. Same with the things like weight loss, for example. You know you want to lose weight, but there's something about the way you're thinking about the weight loss that doesn't help you actually stay on track and do it. You're resisting what you know you need to do to actually accomplish your goal. You might even be doing lots of the things that you know that you need to do, but you probably know deep down that there's more you could do or something that you could do differently than what you're doing if you really committed to success, if you wanted guaranteed success and owned it. Now, another thing you probably do is stay confused, as if you're stuck being confused and there's nothing you can do about it, like it's totally out of your control. Now, this belief keeps you stuck, but confusion is a feeling. If you feel confused, it's a feeling, just like all of the other feelings. And it too is coming from a thought. And you know that thoughts are optional, right? So lots of reasons to not do what you want to do. And lots of reasons that don't seem like that they're under your control. So to quote the church lady from Saturday Night Live, how convenient. And this is resistance. Now let's look at resistance compared to regret. Regret is when you have a feeling of sadness about something sad or wrong, or about a mistake that you've made, and a wish that it could have been different and better. So it's usually something you didn't do or didn't say, and now you wish you had. Regret comes after the fact, very different than resistance. Resistance focuses on not fully embracing or doing something going forward in the future, and regret is feeling sad about what you didn't do in the past. So both are about not doing something. But with resistance, you still have the chance to do something but are struggling with it. And with regret, you didn't do something and don't feel good about it. So let's look at those examples again. So with career, resistance is that you sense that you want to change, but you aren't embracing what you need to do to make it happen. Regret about your career, on the other hand, is looking back at what you did or didn't do and feeling sad about it. With relationships, resistance is knowing what you think you should do or what conversations you should have, or how you want to show up in a relationship and then not doing it. There's still opportunity. Regret would be after the fact, thinking back and wishing you had shown up differently. And with self-care, same sort of thing. With the weight example, it would be knowing you want to lose weight going forward, but not embracing what you need to do to make it happen, like planning your meals in advance, food journaling, getting support, buying nutritious foods, this sort of thing. Whereas regret would be after the fact. Maybe you didn't go on a trip because of your weight, or noticed you weren't in any family photos from beach vacations, or maybe you actually had a health consequence because of your weight. And regret, on the other hand, is looking back and thinking how sad you are that you didn't lose weight when you wanted to. So, my friend, what do you think? Which is worse, resistance or regret? Which is heavier, resistance or regret? It's really a personal question. Both are options for you. Now, I'm sure you're thinking about something right now in at least one of these categories, something that you're resisting going all in on that you really want. Or perhaps you're even thinking about a regret in your life and wishing you would have handled it differently. If there's still time to do something about that regret, you have an opportunity. The question is, will you take it, or will there be resistance? What I really want to emphasize is that you have choice. Once you clean up your thinking, the whole world of opportunity opens up. I actually think that regret is a little heavier, in my opinion. Sometimes there's not much you can do when it comes to regret, except learn to live with it, learn to manage your mind, learn to think on purpose, and tell yourself a different story. Like, you can absolutely all do all of that. If it's change you want, though, then you really have to think. I like to think of resistance as your friend. Yep, I said friend, something you can learn from. Look at it this way. It's always your thoughts. Your thoughts are always getting in the way. Resistance is a giant clue, like with giant Broadway lights blinking all around it. If you don't have the results and outcomes in your life that you want, ask yourself why. If you aren't in the job or career that you want, ask yourself why. If your relationship with someone isn't what you want, or if you're not showing up in the way that you want, ask yourself why. If your self-care is a mess, like your downtime or your weight or your sleep, your morning routines, your travel plans, your hobbies, your exercise, this sort of thing, ask yourself why. Then really listen to what you say to yourself as to why you're not doing whatever it is. And actually write it down. It's easier to really see it that way. Then when it's all out, ask yourself if you like your reason. If you don't like your reason, you're setting yourself up for regrets. I think you'll notice that you believe way more of your own excuses than you might be aware of. When you really own what's going on in your life rather than blaming others or external circumstances, you'll begin to realize that you are way more powerful than you think. You can do way more, you can believe way more, and you can dream way more. And I would love for you to learn this deep, deep down. This is the way forward. This is what you can do for yourself. What a gift. What a gesture of self-love. And it all starts with your thinking. Thinking on purpose is the answer here for sure. Okay, my friend, that's it for today's episode. My focus as a midlife coach is to help you waste less time and get excited about your life again. Being the queen of your brain domain is the best way to be. So check out the show notes with more information and links at SusieRosenstein.com. Download my free ebook, 9 Secrets to Get Unstuck in Your 50s at SusieRosenstein.com/9 secrets. Now, there are 3 great ways to connect more with me in the future. First, join the free Women in the Middle Community Facebook group, where we continue the podcast conversation. Head over to www.facebook.com/groups/Women in the Middle Community. Number 2, work with me directly and get unbelievably effective coaching to take you from being stuck and confused to being crystal clear and excited about your future. Grab your free Kickstart call right away at www.talktosusie.com. And 3, get on the wait list for my new midlife membership, Finally First. This is an upbeat virtual community for 50-plus women who want clarity, courage, and connection so that they are unbelievably excited about their lives again. Get over to www.IamFinallyFirst.com. Doors will open again soon. The big question for you is, are you ready to do this? I think you are. It's time for you to put yourself first and learn to think on purpose. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.